So, I'm still here doing this. So without further ado, let's move on to round 2 of all the championships in Cavan. But there's still one more round 1 championship we need to discuss.
The opening round of the Cavan Senior Football Championship began between Gowna and Kingscourt. The game kicked off evenly enough in the first half as it turned into a tit-for-tat affair with points until the 24th minute when Gowna's Cian Madden fired a goal to give Gowna the edge. However, Kingscourt were quick to respond with a goal of their own by Cavan McGee. But it was Gowna who had the edge at half-time, leading a goal 8 to goal 6. At the start of the second half, Gowna extended their lead up to 5 points, and to add insult to injury, Kingscourt's goal scorer Cavan McGee got a straight red in the 41st minute. Gowna took full advantage, continuing to pull away at a one-stage leading by 6 points. But despite the odds, Kingscourt started to claw back the gap to 3 points in injury time, and then Aaron Shackleton scored a goal for Kingscourt, tying the game in the dying stages and ending the game Kingscourt 2 goals 13 to Gowna's 1 goal 16, a tie game. Killigarry and Castleratton faced off in their round 1 game in Kingspan Breffni. Last year, Killigarry placed 4th in the league stage of the championship, while Castleratton was sent to the relegation playoff with no wins. They will be hoping to avoid that this time. The first half of the game was closely contested. Castleratton seemed to have the edge initially, but a point by Oisin Kiernan and a goal by Martin Riley changed the game and gave Killigarry the lead. Both sides went tit for tat briefly before a goal for Castleratton by Kieran Caldwell changed the face of the game once again in Castleratton's favour. But the sides equalised once again and remained like that at half time with a goal 6 each. Killigarry opened the second half in fine style with a goal by Cian Keeney to give them the lead once again, and from there it seemed they would keep it, till a Castleratton goal by Rory Smith brought them back into contention, and then Killigarry's Oisin Brady got a straight red, and eventually Castleratton got within a point to Killigarry, but that was the closest they got. A Castleratton red by Ewan Henry and another goal for Killigarry by Darragh Noonan, and more Killigarry points gave them a good gap to Castleratton, and Killigarry eventually won a hard-fought game 4 goals 12 to 2 goals 8. Once again in Kingspan Breffni, this time on Saturday, Ballinya and Lara get their senior championship underway. In the first half, Ballinya got an early lead, leading by 4 points as they headed into the end of the first half, but then Lara got a penalty just into the 30th minute. Paul Smith scored it, but Ballinya still led at half time, 9 points to a goal 5. The second half remained tightly contested, but Ballinya never lost their lead. But the game was still as close as Ballinya won in the end 14 points to 1 goal 9. Later on that evening, once again in Breffni Park, Crusherlot and Lavey got their game underway. The first half was a low scoring affair, but it was close. However, towards the end of the first half, Darragh McVeety scored a goal to give Crusherlot the edge at half time. They led a goal 4 to 3 points. Crusherlot immediately opened up the second half with a bang, with yet another score by Peter Smith. He was not done as he quickly followed up with another goal a couple of minutes later. Lavey were on the back foot as Crusherlot dominated possession, with Matthew Costello adding another goal to Crusherlot's long list of scores and points in this half. Lavey got their first score in the second half with only 10 minutes left in the match, with a point, but they quickly followed up with a penalty scored by Aaron McCabe. However, despite these scores, Crusherlot's second half was too dominant, and at the end of the game Crusherlot won 4 goals 14 to 1 goal 6. In Breffni Park on Sunday, Mullahoran engaged Cavan Gales in a closely contested game. In the first half, the game was evenly matched, with both sides going tit for tat, but it was Mullahoran with the edge at half time, breaking away slightly with 6 points to 4. In the second half was a similar story, with Cavan Gales closing the gap and the game being a deadlock for most of the second half. However, in the latter stages of the half, Mullahoran scored 3 consecutive points without a response to break away. This would give them the win despite Cavan Gales' efforts. It was Mullahoran 14 points to 11 points at full time. On Sunday evening, Ballyhaise and Rammer kicked off the last round 1 game in the Senior Football Championship. The first half was very even as both sides traded points for the majority of the half. Eventually, however, Ballyhaise got a small break thanks to a free and they led at half time 9 points to 7. Eventually, Ramor closed in the gap, tying up the game 14 minutes into the second half, and from there both sides went back to trading points. If one side got ahead, the other quickly tied it up. But then, in injury time at the end of the game, Adam O'Connell fired in a goal for Ramor to put them squarely ahead, and this goal was crucial as it gave Ramor the win, a goal 13 to 13 points. So here's the men's senior football table with, after round 1, Crusherlock getting the best possible start they can, ahead of Killigary, Ramor and Mullahoran in 4th. There's Kingscourt and Gowna with their draw game in 6th and 7th, while Ballyhaise, Cavan, Gales, Castleran and Lavey will be hoping to get out of that relegation spots in the next few rounds. And so with the men's senior round 1 out of the way, it's time to move on to all the round 2 games. For the opening game of the second round of the Intermediate Championship, Butler's Bridge and Ballymacue kicked off in Killigary. Butler's Bridge began the game with a bang, with a goal thanks to Killian Leddy, where Ballymacue eventually caught back up, making it a draw game 7 minutes into the game. From there, the first half was an even contest, however towards the end of the half, players from both teams got black cards. The first goal scorer, Killian Leddy for Butler's Bridge, and Ballymacue's Patrick Goldrick. At the end of the first half, Butler's Bridge broke away somewhat from Ballymacue, leading 2 goals 5 to 7 points at half time. In the second half, despite Ballymacue's efforts to try and close the gap, another Butler's Bridge goal by Luke Allison extended their lead. Another goal by Cavan O'Reilly brought the gap down to 10 points. However, Ballymacue were not done. A penalty scored by Liam Buchanan 18 minutes into the second half brought down the gap. And then another Ballymacue score by Aaron Bryody brought the gap down to 2 points. But despite Ballymacue's efforts, this was the closest they got as Butler's Bridge got another point and ended the game 4 goals 10 to 3 goals 10. In Knockbride, Cornafane faced Cuchullins in their round 2 game. Cuchullins are hoping they can turn around their fortunes after a first round loss. The first half was a tight affair with Cornafane seeming to get the edge towards the end of the first half. However, Cuchullins quickly clawed them in and overtook them to take the lead at half time, a goal 7 to a goal 4. In the second half, the gap stayed largely the same with both sides trading points until with 5 minutes left in the game, Cornafane began to close down the gap, scoring consecutive points without a response. However, Cuchullins just about made it over the line, winning their first game in the championship, a goal 10 to a goal 9. In Lavey, Lacken and Bailiber played their match. It was Bailiber who got off to the best start, scoring a goal and 2 points before Lacken even got a score on the board. Despite this, Lacken were quick to catch up. However, Bailiber had the edge thanks to 2 crucial goals and led the game 2 goals 5 to a goal 3. In the second half, both sides remained tightly contested points-wise, trading points for the majority of the second half. But that second Bailiber goal relieved them of any real pressure, and Bailiber ended up winning the game 2 goals 9 to 1 goal 8. In Redhill, Cootehill took on Templeport in their round 2 game. Initially it seemed that Templeport had the edge in the first half with a goal and a couple of points, but eventually Cootehill took the lead with a goal and from there they did not look back, leading at half time a goal 6 to a goal 3. However, things kicked off well for Templeport in the second half. A goal 2 minutes in equalised up the sides and then another goal 5 minutes later on gave Templeport the lead. Cootehill clawed them back in with consecutive points scored and from there it was tit for tat for a while until another goal by Templeport opened the gap back up again. But once again Cootehill's superior point scoring got them back to 1 point behind them and then a last minute free tied up the game into injury time. But Templeport's James Murphy proved to be the hero for Templeport as he scored a last second point to give Templeport the win, 4 goals 9 to 1 goal 17. Ballyhaise was the place where Arva and Drumgoon had their round 2 match. It was Arva who had the edge at half time, dominating the play with good points until at half time Arva led 12 points to 4. The second half was not much better for Drumgoon as Arva kept performing and widening the gap between the two sides. A Drumgoon goal by Barry Cooney gave them some hope of clawing the runaway Arva back, but it was not to be as Arva won the game in the end, 19 points to a goal 10. In Cross Keys, Killincare and Drumlane faced off. A close first half, but it was clear that Drumlane had the edge over Killincare, as they never lost the lead. At the end of the first half, Drumlane led 10 points to a goal 3. The second half, however, was a different story as Killincare began to rein in the gap to Drumlane. Unfortunately for them, however, it would not be enough as Drumlane got away with the win, 13 points to a goal 9. Den and Shercock played the last Round 2 Intermediate Championship match in Virginia. It was Den who got the best start in the first half, shooting 4 points without a response before Shercock got a point. Then they got a goal courtesy of Ben Connachie. Shercock eventually caught up points wise, but that goal gave Den a nice cushion as they led at half time, a goal 10 to 9 points. Den kept their first half performance up at the start of the second half with another goal by Thomas Edward Donoghue. Shercock themselves got another goal by Owen Morrissey, and with their superior point scoring closed down the gap to Den, and heading into injury time it was a tie game. But then Shercock's Sean Clark scored a point from a free to take the lead in the dying stages and cemented a brilliant comeback for Shercock as they won the game a goal 15 to 2 goals 11. So here's the Intermediate Football Championship table after round 2. A very closely contested table at the minute, with 3 from 3rd place all the way down to 12th place being decided purely on points difference. Butler's Bridge and Arba moving ahead as they're the only two who have an unbeaten run at the minute. Killincare moving from the lead down to 3rd. Noteworthy shout out going to Bailiver from going from the relegation playoffs up to 6th place into the quarterfinals. But notice that Cuchulains was 13th and they only moved up to 11th, so they're still in the relegation playoffs. They need to improve a bit more if they want to get out.
Kildallan and Swanlin Bar got round 2 of the Junior Football Championship underway in Templeport, in a very tight and exciting contest between the two teams. In the first half it was completely tit for tat as they went for point, but it was Swanlin Bar with the advantage, leading at half time a goal 6 to a goal 5. However, at the start of the second half, Swanlin Bar began to pull a gap, scoring consecutive points thanks to efforts of Jared Klein, Rory Kern and Killian Murray. Kildallan kept Swanlin Bar on their toes with a goal by Owen McPartland in the dying stage of the contest, and Swanlin Bar's Dara McGoldrick getting a red card. But despite these, Swanlin Bar held on, winning the game a goal 15 to 2 goals 7. In Templeport, Drumalee and Shannon Gales kicked off their round 2 matchup. The first half itself was a low scoring but close game, with it being a draw game at half time with 4 points apiece. The second half was not any different as both sides were almost inseparable. When one side got ahead, the other side quickly equalised, but it was also a relatively low scoring, with the game ending in a draw with 8 points each. Kilshamrocks and Killishandra got their round 2 games underway in Belturbet. Straight off the bat, Kilshamrocks looked to have the edge over Killishandra as they took the lead right from the bat and did not look back. By half time they led Killishandra 2 goals 10 to 6 points. The second half did not go any better for Killishandra. Kill captain Ben McIntyre added another goal for them, and along with Kill adding more points meant that they dominated the game, winning in the end 3 goals 14 to 10 points. In Mulla, Knockbride and Mount Nugent faced off. However, the game would turn out to be extremely one-sided as Knockbride dominated the game. Mount Nugent for their effort were no match, and the full-time score was Knockbride with a dominating 4 goals 24 points to 8 points. Being played in PJ Duke Park, Red Hills and Munchaconna kicked off round 2 for the Junior Football Championship. The first half was another tit-for-tat affair for most of the half. If one side broke ahead, the other side quickly equalised, and vice versa. But it was Munchaconna who got a break, scoring 4 consecutive points at the end of the first half to lead 9 points to 5. They kept this momentum up in the second half. Red Hills, for all their effort, could not close down the gap, and in the end Munchaconna won the game 14 points to 8. Belturbet and Drung played at the same time as Red Hills and Munchaconna in Drumalee. In the first half it was Belturbet with the edge, but not by much. They kept Drung at arm's length and led at half time 5 points to 3.
Things turned around in the second half for Drung as they caught up to Belturbet and eventually took the lead themselves. To further cement their lead, Niall Fitzpatrick scored a goal 16 minutes into the second half. From there they did not look back. Belturbet did not make it easy for them as they tried to close down the gap, but a second Drung goal in the latter stages of the game was the sealing of the deal as Drung won the game 2 goals 9 to 12 points. So here's the men's junior football championship table after round 2. Kilshamrock moving up ahead into the lead with their unbeaten run, while Swanland Bar moves up from 5th. Noteworthy moves in the 5th table is Red Hill going from 1st all the way down to 6th. Drung moving up to 5th. Shannon Gales sticking around the same spot, while Belturbet moved down from 4th to 7th. While Mount Nugent went from 9th down to 12th, and Munchaconnock still holding on to that 8th place spot to get into the quarterfinals. It was Crushalot and Gowna that got round 2 of Group A in the Ladies Senior Football Championship underway in Crushalot. Straight off the bat it was Crushalot who had the edge. After a dominating first half they led a goal 8 to a point. Unfortunately for Gowna, Crushalot continued their dominance into the second half. With numerous goals and points, they ended the game with a dominating 8 goals 15 to a goal 4. In the other Group A game, it was Lacken and Lurgan who had their game in Lacken. However, it was Lurgan who had the edge against the home side, winning it with a commanding 2 goals 18 to 2 goals 7. So here's the Group A table for the Ladies Senior Football Championship. Crushalot and Lurgan having a dominant display in the group, leading with 2 wins each, while Lacken moved ahead of Gowna thanks to the points difference. Drumlane and Ballyhaise kicked off a Group B game in Drumlane. Off the bat it was Ballyhaise who had the edge, but not by much as the gap largely remained only a point as they traded point for point. But a goal for Ellie Brady gave Ballyhaise a bit of a gap. Drumlane, however, got a goal of their own and soon the game was back to the tight status quo. And the game was close all the way to the end, and in the end the game ended in a draw, with Drumlane a goal 14 with Ballyhaise 2 goals 11. Killigarry and Castlerahan kicked off at the same time in Killigarry. Just like the other Group B game, the first half here was another tightly contested game, but it was Killigarry who broke away with consecutive points to lead at half time, a goal 8 to a goal 4. In the second half it continued to be tit for tat. Both sides even got a goal each right after each other, but then 18 minutes into the second half, Castlerahan got another goal to equalise the game. Both sides tried to get the edge over each other, but by the end of the game it was another draw. Killigarry 2 goals 13 and Castlerahan 3 goals 10. So here's the Group B of the Ladies Senior Championships table, and as you can see it's a very tight affair due to everyone drawing in this round. But it's Castlerahan with the edge ahead of Killigarry, Drumlane and Ballyhaise, but it is still all to play for as they head into the final round of the group stages. The first game of round 2 in Group A of the Intermediate Ladies Championship was between Munchaconnock Mount Nugent and Lavey in Munchaconnock. Lavey was hoping they could get off the mark after their first round defeat, while Munchaconnock Mount Nugent was hoping they could keep their winning momentum going. At half time it was a tight affair with Munchaconnock Mount Nugent leading 8 points to 6. But in the second half the amalgamation pulled away until at the end of the game it was 2 goals 16 to 2 goals 9 in Munchaconnock Mount Nugent's favour. Belturbet Red Hills and Templeport kicked off the other game in Group A. Belturbet Red Hills were at the bottom of the table after round 1, so a good game was crucial for them, and they did not disappoint, winning the game by only 3 points from Templeport with 18 points to 3 goals 6. So this is the Group A intermediate table after round 1. Munchaconnock Mount Nugent continuing their winning momentum at the top of the table. Belturbet Red Hills going from last in the group to second in the group after their win. while Templeport in 3rd, while Lavi drops down to the bottom of the table. In Group B, Bailieborough got their championship campaign started against Cornafane. A win was crucial for Cornafane to have a chance for the top positions in the group. The game kicked off in Cornafane and it was Bailieborough who had the advantage of the first half, dominating it and leading at half-time 4 goals 3 to 7 points. In the second half, despite Cornafane's efforts, they could not make any dents into the lead as Bailieborough won the game 7 goals 8 to 2 goals 13. So with Bailieborough's victory, this means that they take the lead in Group B of the Intermediate Championship with the exact same points difference as Mullahoran, so the next game will be crucial for both of them for the placings. Cornafane, meanwhile, in 3rd place can't do much else, unfortunately for them. Ballymacue kicked off their Intermediate Championship campaign against Kingscourt Stars, another crucial game for Kingscourt as they hope to keep their hopes alive in this group. A tight first half with Kingscourt having the edge over Ballymacue as they led a goal 7 to 5 points. Ballymacue began to claw back the gap, helped with a Kingscourt yellow card for Lauren Owens. They eventually got within a points gap with about 5 minutes to go, however Kingscourt just held on, winning a goal 9 to a goal 7. So this is the updated table for Group C after round 2. Kingscourt moves ahead of Ballymacue in the standings in 2nd, while Knockbride continues to lead. After their dominating performance against Cuchulainn, St Finbarrs are back playing again in round 2, this time against Drumgoon. It was another dominating effort by St Finbarrs as they won the game 3 goals 12 to 3 points. So this is the standings now for Group D, St Finbarrs dominating the group and essentially confirming that they will place at the top of the group, regardless of what happens. But the next round between Drumgoon and Cuchulainn will be crucial for both teams. Round 2 of the Group A Junior Championship kicked off between Butler's Bridge and Lara. The game was played in Emmett Park and despite both sides scoring the same goals, it was Butler's Bridge who were the superior point scorer, winning with a dominant 3 goals 18 to 3 goals 3 points. Cavan Gaels and Shercock had their round 2 game in Terrycoyle Park. It was Cavan Gaels who had the command of the game with a dominant display and winning the game in the end 5 goals 14 to 10 points. And here's the Group A table for the Ladies Junior Football Championship Group A. As you can see, Cavan Gaels continuing their domination of the group ahead of Butler's Bridge, while Lara and Shercock Lara's in 3rd place, very close to Butler's Bridge, while Shercock is a fair distance behind in 4th. Group B of the Junior Championship kicked off between Ballinya and Arva Kilishandra, but it was a dominant display by Arva Kilishandra to make it 2 from 2, winning 6 goals 21 to 3 points. Killincare took on Swanlin Bar at home in Killincare in the last round 2 game of the championship. It was another dominating effort by the Killincare ladies as they make quick work of Swanlin Bar. The game ended in 2 goals 20 to 3 goals 2 in a 2 for 2 for Killincare. So here's the Group B Juniors table for the Ladies Football Championship. Arva Kilishandra and Killincare keeping their undefeated streak at the minute going, while Swanlin Bar moves up the 3rd ahead of Ballinya thanks to their points difference.